Assalamu alaikum, peace be on all. So I want to discuss something real quick again this time because the last time I discussed nihilism, okay, a lot of atheists got shook as usual, you know what I mean? And I'm going to say it how it is because let's be frank, atheists have a shallow philosophy and a pugnacious, arrogant attitude, okay? Especially the ones who are not philosophically savvy. So to get to the bottom of this, I want to say this, okay? I made a video already about Batman, Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Knight, Batman in general, and the Joker and Deadpool type of personas. It's what I coined actually, the Joker and Deadpool syndrome. And a lot of people in this day and age have this personality due to philosophical liberalism, which promotes individualism, which then corrupts society, okay? And to be frank with you, if you don't believe me, join any nihilistic group on Facebook. Just join any nihilistic group, especially there's a group called, and they, I believe they still have the same title. They're called Nihilism, Pessimism, Cynicism. The title gives it away. The admins and the people in general who join this group, they have about 50,000 plus. I don't know if the group is still alive. I have no clue. But the group is like Arkham Asylum. You go there and the posts and how they interact. Depressed, insane people. This is what America has produced. I'm not going to lie. The United States have produced a lot of insane people operating based on philosophical liberalism. The United States is Arkham Asylum. And I know a lot of patriots, Americans, nationalists who might not like what I'm saying right now, but I'll tell you this right now, there's a lot of, and not just the atheists, I'm talking about even religious folks. It's an Arkham Asylum. That's what philosophical liberalism does to people. Promoting individualism, and not to mention Hollywood and the propaganda through the media, TV shows and movies, and then the music genre. You become a teenager, all of a sudden you have to dress based on what you listen to, because music affects the human spirit. Okay, and I'll tell you this right now, I used to listen to rap music. I'm not gonna lie. And I used to dress like rappers. I mean, I still have hoodies nonetheless, but I mean, should I not dress in hoodies to stop imitating the rappers? No, because a hoodie's a hoodie at the end of the day. But all I'm saying that you are what you listen to at the end of the day. You are what you consume. If you consume junk, your mind will become junk. If you listen to an intellectual lecture, you will learn something. You'll actually have some insight, you know. You'll be able to reflect on things and wake up a bit, you know. As they say nowadays, I'm woke. So yeah, people have lost their marbles. Not going to lie. And if you want to say, listen, if you want to say, okay, if you want to say, no, atheists have everything to live for, but the theists don't. Because the theists assume ultimate accountability. Therefore, they have nothing to live for. Therefore, it's nihilistic under theism, but not atheism. You got it twisted, man. This just sums up your lack of philosophical thinking. Nihilism means there is no intrinsic nor objective purpose and meaning to life. That's what it means. How many times must I give you the definition? When you're gone forever under atheism. There's no ultimate accountability, and that's why you can be hedonistic, you can do as you please. Moral nihilism, man. Who are you appealing to? The government? Who are you trying to please? Bosons and fermions? Producing introspective illusion? Who are you trying to please? The ego? In case you're not a physicalist, Who are you worshiping? What are you doing? It's all about me, myself, and I, satanic ends. And that's what Satanism is. That's what, from an Islamic lens, this is satanic. This is at-taghut, as Allah calls it, at-taghut. At-taghut is when you worship idols, when you worship the self, the ego, the social norms. You have, and I've said this already, you have no choice but to worship, because we are spiritual human beings at the end of the day. Get it through your head. And stop twisting it. There's some people with who are doctors, engineers, historians, but that doesn't mean that you're a philosopher. It doesn't mean that you're philosophically savvy. Yeah, so what? I have family members who have a better degree than me, a higher prestige than me, but they're philosophically illiterate. And that's what a lot of people are nowadays. Because you see, here's my philosophy, here's my theory, okay? And it's not a conspiracy or anything. When the masses, okay, were beguiled by falsehood, like Christianity, for example, they were worshipping the wrong God, based on the wrong axioms. Just like the ancient Greeks, for example, the Scandinavians, ancient Scandinavians, ancient Egyptians. They were polytheists. When you're a polytheist, you become heedless. Your spirit is dirty, as Allah says. Okay? The spirit is dirty. It's not in line with Allah. And then people can become beguiled and can be charmed by a lot of things, you know, and assume they're on the right path. Without the proper axioms, you're lost. Even if you believe that God is one, based on what? And that's why people become heedless. And they operate based on psychology, looking up to the hegemony, looking up to the social norms, looking up to what's being propagated, what's in fashion, the mode, and they become in oblivion, operating based on what's in trend. No, Islam tells you to always be God conscious, to always be aware, self-aware, aware of Allah, aware of the people you interact with, aware of everything. And that's why the term woke can never be for someone who's an atheist. The term woke can never be for someone who's a polytheist. Matter of fact, I would say even a Christian is not woke. Some Christians, by the way, do not get me wrong, they have God conscious. A lay Christian can have God conscious. I'm not joking. And I'm not being a sycophant or anything. I met some Christians who are just like Muslims. They're God conscious. But they just believe that Jesus is God, because they've been told that Jesus is God without philosophizing. And you cannot philosophize the Trinity. You cannot justify it philosophically, epistemically, or anything. You have to leave it alone and have blind faith at the end of the day. But here's my question now. Okay, and I'm not going off on a tangent, by the way. Here's my question. Is the believing in the Bible based on blind faith as well? That's the question that I want to posit to the Christians. And the same with the Jews. We're the chosen ones, you know. But chosen doesn't mean anything special, by the way. It means you can be cursed if you don't follow through. Because that's why Allah cursed them. And Jesus cursed the Jews. And also David, Dawood, Isa ibn Maryam, peace be upon them, they cursed the Jews specifically. Anyways, the reason the masses have become easily brainwashed and individualistic is because it began with falsehood to begin with, from the academic elite. And then, now some might ask, okay, that doesn't mean that all Muslims are aware and woke. I agree. Even the Muslims, a lot of them are asleep. And that's because they have colonial amnesia. You know how many Middle Eastern Arabs, they look up to the white man? They have colonial amnesia. And they want to have the same mentality as the white man. Again, because they have colonial amnesia. I'm not joking. When I say white man, I'm not being racist. I'm talking about Kipling syndrome. I'm talking about white man's burden. They think this is this superior way of living, like the white man. There's nothing superior about it in the sight of Allah. When it's based on hedonism, liberalism, secularism, all these isms, consequentialism, utilitarianism, and then you'll have some Pakistani who calls himself an ex-Muslim with an inferiority complex, coming trying to basically disparage me because I'm using these terms that he has no clue what they mean, because he's a dumbass, pretty much. He's a donkey. That's what it is when I say dumbass. Anyways, that's what it is in a nutshell. People have colonial amnesia, the Middle Eastern people. I'll give you an example. I was working sometimes at this event as a security, and it was an Arab event. People mostly from the Levant. There were a few Egyptians, but mostly from the Levant region. So that would be like Syrian, Palestinian, Jordanian, some Iraqi as well. Probably mostly Iraqi, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure, but they were Arabs, okay, from the so-called Middle East. And I say so-called because that term has been coined by an American white man. They thought I was Jamaican, by the way, okay, because I was working with Jamaicans and I blended in quite well. And by the way, a lot of people think I'm Jamaican. Even Persian people think I'm Jamaican. Some of them, not all of them. I don't know why. I'm Egyptian, bro. You know what I mean? And people think I'm black. I don't know why. Because maybe ancient Egyptians were black. But anyway, I don't want to go off on a tangent but what I'm trying to say is that they call me a abid. Abid is a slave. Okay? And this already sums up their white mentality. If they look at you with this racist lens, just like the white man, okay, who thinks he's superior because it's a white hegemony at the end of the day. I'm gonna say it how it is, man. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? From a social analysis. So now we have these people operating based on psychology, you know, monkey see, monkey do, like I said in the last video. To the point that they lose their marbles. And if someone tells them life is nihilistic, they say, yeah, life is not. And they think they actually discovered something. Like a eureka moment. Oh, life is nihilistic. That's it. It's time to now realize that that life has no meaning. There's this guy named Polite. Brother Polite. He talks about all these spiritual things. And he disparages religion, and he has his own philosophy, and then all of a sudden it's like life has no meaning. Then what's the point, bro? If life isn't fundamentally nihilistic, what are you doing? His whole philosophy is a contradiction. He doesn't make sense sometimes, you know. He's very emotional when he speaks. I didn't watch too much of his stuff, by the way, and I agree with some of the things he says. I'm not trying to disrespect him or anything. But I'm just saying, if you're going to conclude that nihilism is the fact of the matter, you should follow through logically with the rest of your philosophy. Or else you're talking nonsense. Just like the atheists. Not making any sense. Oh, we have to do this, we have to do that. It's all now predicated on what? Physicalism? And then he talks about antimatter. If life is fundamentally nihilistic, how do you predicate the knowledge you have? On what? Based on what? And then he thinks God is a female. Anyway, I don't want to discuss, make this whole video about him. But the atheist, back to the atheist and nihilism, because nihilism is the fact of the matter under atheism. We as Muslims, we have guidelines and rules to follow. Just because we have guidelines and rules doesn't mean that this is nihilism. No, because this life matters. And I've said this many times. This life matters under Islam. Therefore, it's not nihilistic. Therefore, it's a test. But this life under atheism is not a test. So it doesn't matter. It's nihilistic. But you operate like an animal based on hedonism. So you have everything, you want to enjoy everything to the brim. You want to have your fill. You want to have your cake and eat it, pretty much. You want to have your fill at the end of the day. You want to have a theological discourse and at the same time an atheistic discourse. You want to be a hypocrite. Because let's face it, there is no ultimate accountability, so what's the point? You can do as you please as an atheist. You can enjoy life until you become desensitized. And believe me, when you go through that path, you will experience nihilism. Believe me, once you become desensitized and not feel any pleasure, and perhaps even end up having anhedonia, look it up, anhedonia, you will lose all the senses and pleasures, and you will experience nihilism. And it will be detrimental, especially if you presuppose philosophical naturalism. Yes, I say presuppose because it's a presupposition. It's a belief at the end of the day, just like monotheism. But it's a belief without justification. Because if it's philosophical naturalism is a fact of matter, then physicalism and materialism is a fact of matter, then it's all based on subparticles and we're just cake, like I said before. And you know how easy it is to put knives in like candle in a piece of cake when you cut it, if you catch my drift. Anyway, that's it. That's all I got for now. Peace out. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.